Tenki no Ko / Weathering with You is a great film. Yes, I just said that, and I know it's controversial. Actually, no, it's an amazing film. And after the movie just releasing on Blu-ray, I took a watch, although I was in Tokyo when it released with my friend. It was in Japanese, and sadly I am not Japanese, so I couldn't understand it. So I had to wait, what has it been, 8 months? And now I was able to finally watch it on Blu-ray, and I absolutely loved it. After watching it though, I headed to YouTube just to check out what other people thought about the movie, and I was quite surprised to see that there was a bombardment and barrage of reviews that had this overwhelmingly negative sentiment, yeah. And they were constantly comparing it to Makoto Shinkai's early work of Your Name. I see this as largely unjustified because the two movies explore almost two completely different themes and motives, yet people just want to group the two together, which I see as insane, you know, and ridiculous. Many YouTubers that I saw, even good they're reputable YouTubers, saw just labeling this movie as a worse version of Your Name. In this video, I'm going to both resolve this injustice as I review the movie while exploring some more analytical elements such as key themes and motives, which I believe supplemented this great film. As I believe this film had a much more complex narrative, which is rarely seen in anime, and is largely manifested in a video game, my favorite of all time, and their second one's just about to release, The Last of Us. And I know what you're thinking, bruh, what is Weathering with You and Last of Us zombie apocalypse, well not parasite, you know, whatever, this apocalypse have to do with one another? And that's they both explore this concept of morally ambiguous protagonists. But before I get into that, let's do a quick overview of the film. Okay, so the story centers around a boy named Hodaka, who in essence attempts to escape his arduous and harrowing past, which sees him board a ship to Tokyo in an attempt to chase his ominous light, but more on that later. Once arriving in Tokyo, he works part-time for a journalism company, second-rate albeit, which leads to his fateful encounter with the Hayaku Percento Hareona, 100% sunshine girl, who has the supernatural ability to revise the weather and convert rain into, you guessed it, 100% sunshine. And the movie centers around this dynamic between these two star-crossed lovers, yes, very Romeo and Juliet-esque. And what is a dynamic without good characters? So let's get into one of my favorite parts about the film. Okay, I mainly want to focus this segment on Hodaka and this kind of omnipotent motive of moral ambiguity, but I'll save that for after. So let's start with the heroine of the film, Hina. Hina is this lovable and relatable girl in her teens from Tokyo. Lucky, right? She has a troublesome past which sees her attempt to kind of catalyze and hasten her youth so she can quickly adapt to this parental figure that her family is so lacking. Due to her lack of money and income, the movie kind of personifies this frugal way of lifestyle that is necessary for her to sustain herself and her brother. And the movie is very much like, you know, that Korean movie that won the best Oscar, so you probably do, Parasite, which kind of has its own messages about social standing. And this movie's emphasis is more on this kind of age hierarchy, I don't know the word, age hierarchy. And this kind of demonstrated with Hina, for example, when you see they tell her to move out and she demonstrates to them that she has caused no one any trouble. But who cares, right? She's a girl. Well, not a girl, she's a young girl. And this is further emphasized when the gangster's arrested, and despite his confession of hiring Hina being a minor for explicit services, the law enforcement seamlessly ignore this and focus their questioning about the boy who ran away. Furthermore, this is actually redemonstrated with Hodaka when he's arrested. And despite injuries on his face and bandages, they attempt to scold him and detain him for running away instead of asking why he's run away in the first place, with the bandages kind of implying there's been maybe physical abuse, something like that. It doesn't really go into that, but it's just there, those messages. But talking about Hodaka, okay, let's get into him. Okay guys, now, this is epic. No joke, this is like one of the main reasons why I love the film to the extent which I do. And that is this complex character design, not aesthetic, because look at the drawings, they're quite simplistic, which I like, it's not flawed. And it's more about personality-wise. And in Hodaka, he's clearly a character who is morally convoluted and flawed. At the beginning of the film, he doesn't appear to be the case, as he seems like this overwhelmingly kind and positive character, just like, you know, Deku from My Hero Academia. However, as the film continues to progress, we see him evolve into a less morally altruistic person. Around the beginning of the film, we see him fire a gun at a gangster, just narrowly missing him. And this is further re-emphasized around the end when he aims the gun at the man who saved his life and protected him for the first 2/3 of the duration of the film. And I don't know about you, but to me that seems a bit sus. And ultimately, this moral ambiguity climaxes at the end of the film, which I absolutely loved. When Hodoka decides ultimately to allow the deterioration of Tokyo in order to save Hina. If we view this morally, that's ultimately a very selfish decision, as we see many houses, such as the grandmother's, floods and is ruined. Many, if we look at this from a realistic point of view, lives would be devastated by such a decision, allowing Tokyo to flood with its barrage of never-ending rain in order to save the girl he loved. Now, is Hodoka wrong in doing such a thing? No, I don't think he is. Put yourself into this kind of morally grey area and think about what you would do. Maybe it's not your girlfriend as the movie portrays, but think about your mother, brother, father, I don't know, some other close person that you really love. Would you make the same choice? I don't know about you, but I would. And what makes me love this film even more is that it doesn't just look over this key detail. As we see when Hodoka revisits the city 3 years after this significant event, he personally sees a victim of the decision he made. And I love that. And not in a mean sense of seeing a victim, but just seeing that the film doesn't brush over it. And he constantly, you see him juggle this decision in his head for years after the event, wondering if his decision was worth the damage that he has done. But guys, put it like this. If he didn't save Hina, we would never have such great synergy between them. Like in my favorite clip of the movie, when one of my favorite Japanese songs, bro, you don't even know how hyped I was when I saw it. When one of my favorite Japanese songs of all time was sang by Hina, like this. Now that brings me on to the music, and what can I say, it's great. Radwimps is on the music again, just like in Your Name, and he absolutely kills it. I know there's many people that compare it to Your Name and say this music is garbage, but just shut up, like really just shut up. You just enjoy it for this movie and not for Your Name. I believe the music does a great job at encapsulating and personifying the mood of the scenes in which they were composed for. Take for example when Hodoka begins working for the news company, and this montage takes place of his fast-paced, hectic, arduous, and ultimately fun time he's having, which completely juxtaposes his previous strife and duration of homelessness, and has this absolutely awesome soundtrack by Radwimps behind it. Tell me it isn't a perfect fit. And I know I said I wouldn't compare it to Your Name, but just as a reference, this film too has kind of an emotionally reoccurring track, which is very similar to the role, the iconic Sparkle played in Your Name. And I don't think it's too shabby at all. This movie was good. Like, really good. And it had an abundance of great and memorable moments from the film. My personal favorite, as I previously mentioned, when Hina sings Koi, bro, that made me no joke. And of course there were other iconic memorable moments, such as I want you more than any other blue sky. Tell me that didn't hit you. If you say it didn't, not epic, you're a liar. The ending sequence where he chased that torii gate on that roof, it made me tear up, not gonna lie, I'm a man. And it was bloody awesome, especially that amazingly animated bike sequence that was just prior. It made me feel like I was in an Uncharted game, for Christ's sake, bro. Nathan Drake on the track. And of course, I have to mention the greatest crossover scene since Endgame, with the meeting of Taki and Mitsuha. Apparently, I'm not Japanese like I previously mentioned, but in Japan, like the audience were as ecstatic as the Americans were when they saw Thor and Rocket drop, in the sky from Endgame, that really cool scene. Like, here's a recreation of that. Yeah, overall my final thoughts are that movie is amazing. It really is. I don't compare it to Your Name. They're both great. They both are. Enjoy them for both being separate movies. I'm very happy with both. Especially since my visit to Tokyo when I went in August of last year, when it released around. It was constantly raining, and you know, you really feel that the atmosphere that is portrayed in the movie of Tokyo, and the animation is god tier. Like the drawings literally recreate shot for shot exactly how it looks like in real life. Even though they paid attention to the details of like McDonald's, bro. When have you seen an anime actually call McDonald's? And that Big Mac, remember that, bro? That got me hungry. Like it's a great movie. There are some things that I didn't touch upon, such as the editing. There's very good moments, like how very simplistic transitions when it fades to black, but at one point in the movie it actually fades to white around the end, and I feel that there's many things I could say that represents, but I think that kind of what that light he was chasing, it just indicates that he's finally achieved it, you know. But you can take your own. The cat, for example, what do you think that symbolizes? I thought it was either their relationship and how it grows, or I don't know. This film has a lot of things to explore, and I really do think it is worth exploring and but I just wanted to get my thoughts out there, because after seeing the reviews, you guys are stupid, not you guys, but the other YouTubers, they're just dumb. Ultimately, Weathering with You, amazing movie. Emotionally touching, action-packed at times. It can be just a laugh at points. And it's just a great movie. And if you haven't watched it, you're really missing out on quite an emotional experience. Go check it out.